Well, a very good evening and thanks for clicking on to the Friday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. The month of March wound up 8th warmest globally, but when you look at the 30-year average temperature, it was just marginally above the average, really, and this is following similar to February as well. So the La Nina has definitely been doing its work in terms of cooling the global temperature as expected here, and I'll look at that in the coming days and weeks as well. The response to the La Nina on Earth's temperature overall. But we've had a very wild up and down kind of temperature regime, and of course that has been a reflection of the upper pattern and the big flips that we've seen. The month of March saw very warm conditions here during the early part of the month, followed by very cold conditions that actually brought the temperature from above average down below average. But then, of course, the final 2 days of the month seen March monthly records, heat records being set, and locally in parts of France, including Paris, 26 Celsius, the warmest March day on record here. And of course, many records across this part of Europe date back into the 1800s. But we had a national record in Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, and indeed Luxembourg, which brought the average temperature to pretty much bang on average in this part of Europe here. But we've seen big flips around, over the course of the month. The UK averaging slightly above normal during the month of March as well. But of course, we all know that we are now deep in a near January level cold pattern for the month, and we are now in the deep in the grips of the second wave of Arctic air this month here. In fact, I can recall about I would say about 6 days in the last 7 has seen fallen snow and even light accumulations. Not even just during the overnight hours where you would expect it to lie a bit more, but even during the daytime, we've seen lying snow here in Invergordon, which is very close to sea level. So pretty remarkable, pretty rare stuff. And like I've said, cold and snow isn't unheard of, isn't massively unusual during the month of April, but I think the prolonged spell of this cold weather is making it that bit more unusual. So these are the deep purples, the dark blues, indicating temperatures yesterday well below normal for the time of the year across the British Isles, across the Low Countries, the very areas that, of course, seen record-breaking heat during the last few days. In fact, we've seen Slovakia and even lowland areas of Slovenia record the coldest April temperatures on record from a national level. So we've went from seeing national records for heat being broken, and 7 days later, we're seeing April cold records as well. So, of course, Benson, Oxfordshire, minus 7.5 yesterday. That was England's coldest April temperature since 2013. So very interesting indeed. This is the month so far below, marginally above normal if you notice here across the Republic, and even southwestern fringes of Wales and England. And the reason why is we've had a little bit more Atlantic air trying to move in here, temperatures into the teens here. In fact, even yesterday we've seen parts of southeast England reach 14 or 15 degrees Celsius. But in came the wave of cold once again, and it's going to be interesting to see, even across much of France and across Iberia, can we start to see this warm anomaly come back down towards average, if not below average, based on what I'm going to show you next here. So looking at the upcoming period here, folks, this is the GFS, and you can see here the isobars pointing all the way back to the Arctic. We're driving in more cold air, snowfall again today across the north of Scotland here. Generally, Central Belt southwards has been more sheltered, so it's been more in the way of sunshine as opposed to snow showers. But if we continue to skip through the sequence here, you continue to see the cold coming down. Then a little bit of high pressure trying to build in, but it's building into cold air, folks. So therefore, the space in the isobars mean the winds come down, but we've got cool-ish days and cold nights. And cold by that I mean at or below freezing, especially away from towns and cities. You're going to continue to see the frost risk, and even with maybe some showers, once the sun goes down, the temperature goes below freezing, you've got an ice risk as well. But it's as we skip through this loop, folks, you continue to see a kind of northerly component to the isobars, indicating that we're going to continue to draw our air in from the north. So a cold source will continue here as we go forward. Then we've got a nice area of high pressure here, a little bit milder, so we're going to see the daytime highs come back up again with the strength of the sun. But again, once you clear the skies out, and you've got, of course, the starry skies at night, lose the sun, you get the frost coming back in once again. So it's going to remain fairly chilly. And then as we skip through, you can see a little bit of an intrusion here coming in from the Atlantic. So milder push once again. But then that doesn't last, because it has high pressure building up towards the Norwegian Sea and Scandinavia. And what we're going to start to see is the potential for some easterly airflow coming in. High pressure, cold high pressure, dominating more northern parts of the British Isles. Further south, with a little bit more isobars in the chart, you've got an easterly wind coming in off a cold North Sea. So, folks, this rut that we're in at the moment looks as if it's here to stay for quite some time. And looking at the CFSV2, this clarifies what I'm saying. Week 1 temperatures of the model indicate firmly below freezing, below normal should I say. Week 2, below normal. Week 3, it starts to moderate somewhat, if you see here, but it's only back up to average. And by this stage, we're talking about the period between the 23rd and the 30th of April. So the remainder of this month, folks, is going to remain cold. By the time we get out to week 4, which takes in the first week of May, we've got a little bit of above normal starting to indicate here. So, but that remains to be seen. We're talking about pretty much a month away. And yeah, the models are trying to bring the warmth back. But that wouldn't surprise me, given what we've got, that we delay any kind of warmth with this type of pattern here. The NAO, the AO, firmly negative, and therefore it's going to be a hard slog out of this chilly winter pattern that we've got at the moment. That's for sure. And it's going to be interesting to see where April winds up. If the models are right, if the cold maintains itself through the remainder of the month, it's going to be interesting to see where this month winds up in terms of cold compared to recent history. So that's it for today. Hope you have a great weekend coming up. Stay safe, and I'll be back in the next couple of days with more. Bye for now.